Hello everyone! Welcome back to the How channel where curiosity meets fun. Here we dive into the most mind-blowing, jaw-dropping and just plain cool facts from all over the world. Our videos are packed with information that'll make you say, I had no idea. Hit subscribe and join the adventure of learning something new every day. Let's dive into the video for today on how the tariffs has affected the economy. But before we do that, let's learn a bit about what tariffs are. Tariffs are essentially taxes on imported goods. Governments implement tariffs for various reasons. Sometimes it's to protect domestic industries from foreign competition. Other times it's a way to generate revenue or exert political pressure on another country. Whatever the reason, tariffs ultimately increase the cost of goods for businesses and consumers. These increased costs can have significant ripple effects throughout the global economy. In recent years, we've witnessed a surge in protectionist policies leading to what some economists call a trade war. The consequences of these actions are far-reaching and impact everything from economic growth to the price of groceries. In this essay, we'll delve into the economic impact of recent tariffs, examining their effect on consumers, businesses, and the global economy as a whole. Major economic institutions have sounded the alarm on the negative impacts of tariffs. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, and even the French Central Bank have all downgraded their economic growth forecasts, citing trade tensions as a primary factor. The IMF, for instance, has slashed its global growth forecast for 2025 to a mere 2.8%. A significant drop from its previous projection of 3.3%. This slowdown can be attributed in part to the uncertainty and reduced trade caused by tariff wars. The OECD echoes these concerns, warning that tariffs are fueling inflation and discouraging investment worldwide. This perfect storm of negative economic factors threatens to push the global economy towards recession. One of the most immediate and tangible consequences of tariffs is their impact on consumer prices. When tariffs are imposed on imported goods, those costs are often passed down to consumers in the form of higher prices. This means that everyday items, from electronics and appliances to construction materials and even food, become more expensive. For example, tariffs on Chinese-made electronics have led to a noticeable increase in the price of smartphones, computers, and other devices. Similarly, tariffs on Canadian lumber have driven up the cost of building materials, making it more expensive to construct or renovate homes. These price hikes place a significant burden on consumers, especially those with lower incomes. Families may struggle to afford essential goods and services, and the overall standard of living can decline. Beyond the immediate impact on prices, tariffs also disrupt global supply chains, which are the intricate networks that companies rely on to source materials, manufacture products, and deliver them to consumers. When tariffs are introduced, these carefully calibrated systems are thrown into disarray. The automotive industry, for example, is heavily reliant on a complex web of suppliers across multiple countries. Tariffs on steel and aluminum, along with retaliatory tariffs on finished vehicles, have increased costs and created production bottlenecks for automakers in North America. E-commerce businesses are also feeling the pinch. Tariffs, along with increased customs scrutiny and the loss of certain exemptions, have led to higher shipping costs, longer delivery times, and increased complexity for online retailers and consumers alike. Section 5. Agriculture under fire, exports and retaliation. The agricultural sector is particularly vulnerable to the negative consequences of tariffs and trade wars. When countries retaliate against tariffs by imposing their own barriers to trade, agricultural products are often among the first to be targeted. American farmers, for instance, have been hit hard by retaliatory tariffs from China on soybeans, pork, and other agricultural exports. These tariffs have made American farm goods less competitive in the global market, leading to surpluses, lower prices, and financial hardship for many farmers. This situation illustrates the unintended consequences of protectionist trade policies. While tariffs may be intended to protect domestic industries, they can ultimately harm other sectors of the economy and lead to job losses in unexpected places. Section 6, a jittery market, volatility and uncertainty. The uncertainty surrounding trade policy and the imposition of tariffs has also contributed to increased volatility in financial markets. Investors are wary of committing capital when the rules of the game are constantly changing, and this hesitancy can dampen economic activity. Take the semiconductor industry as an example. Semiconductors are essential components in countless electronic devices, and the industry is highly globalized. However, the threat of tariffs and trade restrictions has created uncertainty for semiconductor companies, making them hesitant to invest in new facilities or expand production. This hesitancy can have ripple effects throughout the technology sector and beyond, as businesses delay investments and consumers put off purchases due to concerns about future price increases or product shortages. Section 7. Drowning in debt. Global fiscal pressures. Another alarming consequence of the recent wave of protectionism is the escalating level of global debt. The IMF warns that global public debt is on track to reach nearly 100% of global GDP by 2030, fueled in part by slower economic growth and increased government spending to mitigate the negative effects of trade tensions. This mountain of debt poses a significant risk to the global economy. As debt levels rise, so too do the costs of servicing that debt, diverting resources away from other, more productive uses. This can create a vicious cycle of slower growth, higher debt, and increased fiscal pressure. In a worst-case scenario, the IMF warns that global debt could exceed 117% of GDP, a level not seen since World War II. Such a development would have severe consequences for the global economy, potentially leading to a prolonged period of stagnation or even another financial crisis. Section 8. The human cost. How tariffs affect you. While the economic impacts of tariffs are significant and far-reaching, it's crucial to remember that these policies ultimately affect real people in tangible ways. From the farmer struggling to sell his crops to the family struggling to afford groceries, tariffs have a human cost that cannot be ignored. When businesses face higher costs due to tariffs, they may be forced to lay off workers or reduce wages. Consumers, meanwhile, see their purchasing power eroded as the price of everyday goods climbs higher. This can lead to a decline in living standards, increased inequality, and social unrest. It's essential for policymakers to consider these human costs when making decisions about trade policy. While tariffs may seem like a simple solution to complex economic problems, they often create more problems than they solve, harming the very people they are intended to help. Section 9. Conclusion. A call for open trade. The evidence is clear. Tariffs and trade wars are detrimental to the global economy, harming businesses, consumers, and the global financial system. Instead of resorting to protectionist measures, governments should work together to promote free and fair trade, which has been shown to benefit all parties involved. Open trade fosters competition, drives innovation, and creates jobs. It allows countries to specialize in what they do best and trade with one another to access a wider variety of goods and services at lower prices. This, in turn, leads to higher living standards, increased prosperity, and a more interconnected and peaceful world. The time has come to move away from the zero-sum mentality of trade wars and embrace a future of cooperation and shared prosperity. By working together, we can create a more open, equitable, and prosperous world for all.